Well, folks, welcome to game 2 of our second national quarterfinal matchup as Ole Miss takes on Fresno State live from BVG Sports. I am the other guy alongside my broadcast partner, Brownsville Gamer.
And again, it's Ole Miss. They're playing at Fresno State. For Fresno State, this is their opportunity to try to make their way into a national semifinal. And for Ole Miss, they're trying to see if they can do something that they haven't done from last year's visit to the CFT, and that's to win a playoff game since they're now in the playoff position. Right now, the Ole Miss Rebels, they kick the ball out to the Bulldogs as number 11 is going to take it up to about the 30. Instead, it's the 23-yard line. And let's talk about Fresno.
Yes.
As they are now about to make the field on offense.
One half of running back Donaldson, he's the player to watch, as rightfully so. He's taking over this tournament as being one of the best running backs in the league.
Now, can Fresno State overcome a loss like BYU in this quarterfinal game? Do you think that Ole Miss is going to feel the wrath of Fresno based off of how they performed last game?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe Ole Miss, both teams honestly have both to prove. This is their first playoff appearance. Both teams have something to prove. For Ole Miss, they're trying to revenge their abysmal performance in the tournament last year. And for Fresno State, they're trying to undo what they didn't do in the first inaugural tournament, and that's win a game.
And for that to be said, it begs the question.
Oh, my goodness.
Ole Miss is a very talented team, although they just gave up a first down. But do you think that this is the toughest opponent for Fresno State thus far?
Well, I don't know, because Donaldson's off to the races and the wall with a spin move.
And that's going to be a Bulldogs touchdown. And talk about a run from Donaldson.
I mean, one half of running back, you already setting the tone already on their first drive, scoring already.
I'm thinking this might be their toughest opponent, but the way they're playing against Ole Miss like this is something that's going to make you want to pay very close attention more to Fresno State. Look at that spin by Donaldson, number 6. I mean, there's a significant reason why Fresno State has been shocking everyone in this tournament, and it's because their running game arguably is the best in the game. But right now, we noticed that Edward Fonda, the left guard, he has been injured, but I think he should be able to make himself available once they're back on offense. Ball goes back to the Rebels. Number 7 is going to take it up to the 18-yard line.
And before we get to the Rebels, I just want to say, like I said, you've been very critical of Fresno State these last couple of weeks, especially after that loss they had to BYU to end the tournament. I mean, what did you not continue to tell what you just saw at that first possession?
I mean, that was something that Ole Miss is still trying to figure out themselves. So I don't know what to say, but what I can say, if that's the type of offense that we're going to be seeing from Fresno State, the Rebels on their defensive end has to do something about it. But right now, on the offense, they're mobilizing, and that's going to be another first down for the Rebels. Puts them at the 30-yard line as the quarterback sets a screen, doesn't gain much. In fact, that's a loss of 1. Gets it to the running back, 22, stopped right up the middle. It's now 3rd and 12. And let's see what Trinidad does.
Oh, knocked the ball out.
Wasn't able to connect on that, and that's a quick 3 and out.
And Fresno State is going to get the ball back. And like I said, what do you think Ole Miss has to do as Freeman gets in, doesn't go anywhere? What do you think Ole Miss has to do now that they're in the playoffs for the first time after what
they need to not look at themselves as an overrated team. I think one can argue that this team is quite overrated based off of who they faced and who they defeated. If you look at the teams that they faced, they beat Boise State away, Western Kentucky, not something really to brag about. They beat Louisiana, also away, not something to really brag about. And then they beat Tennessee. The 2 games that they could not get done, they couldn't beat Texas, and there also was a casualty to the Indiana Hoosiers.
And we're already done with the first quarter already.
And already, if we look at where we are right now, Fresno State, they're not a passing team. They're all about the rushing game, and they're developing very well with nearly 100 rushing yards, about 10 yards per possession. So right here, they know how to move the chains. And I'm talking about the Bulldogs here. If they are going to continue to play on that momentum with that tempo, I can't see how the Rebels are going to catch
Donaldson
up.
Gets another one.
And let's look again, goes back to Donaldson, and that's going to be nothing much of a gain here. And man in motion as the quarterback gives it back to Donaldson, and Donaldson tries to curl to the right but couldn't get any movement. It's going to be 3rd and long.
So
You have 3 that are eligible in the backfield. Gets it off.
Oh,
the
he
screen,
overthrew
but
the
couldn't set it up.
And he overthrew Gillian because that was intended for him, and they're gonna try to attempt a field goal
Elijah
here.
Gilliam was going to try to get that and try to work it from the left side, but instead they will settle for a field goal, and that's going to put the Bulldogs up by 10.
And what do you think Fresno State has to do now? This is their first playoff appearance, and they have a home game. Do you think that they're able to exercise their demons from the inaugural tournament after going 5-2?
Well, look, this is a team that is 5-1. They're 3rd ranked for a reason. Fresno State has to play like Fresno State. We know that we're not going to see much coming out of the air, but in terms of defense, you got stoppers that must get to the quarterback far quicker, because you see, the thing about Trinidad Chambliss is that he's a mobile guy. He'll play in the pocket, but he'll do things like this that makes Chambliss very dangerous, and he can be mobile when he needs to. So if you can shut Trinidad down, you're going to shut up a lot of the momentum that the Rebels are going to try to take advantage of on offense. They only got a gain of 2 there. It's now 2nd and 8 at the 34. Chambliss stays in the middle, throws it up the middle for a complete pass.
Oh,
and number 2 is going to get it in for a Rebels touchdown.
He broke free. I thought he was going to be short, be tackled, but
Wallace,
he was able to get out of that.
Second, is able to put 6 on the board for the Rebels, and it looks like we now have a game. And if we look again at Wallace, the third, wide receiver number 2, that right there up the middle by Chambliss made it just so effortless for number 2 to just go up there. There was no one able to stop him.
That's true.
And when you
the extra kick is
that was a block.
And Fresno State recovers, but they get stopped.
Weren't able to try to get the extra point, so they're now going to be down by 4 as the Rebels get the ball back.
Yeah.
And they're going to move it up past the 50.
Oh, my goodness.
And moving forward, he's going. I don't think he's going to get stopped at the 10, the 5. That's a touchdown for the Bulldogs.
Wow. A kickoff return touchdown.
What about that by number 2?
Oh, they're making you a believer now.
Looking at Luke. That was a sensational recovery from the block.
Rayshawn Luke took it back the distance. No one was near him.
No one was able to get up to him. And that was because when the defense is slipping, when the ball is recovered, and no one was there to get it from the Rebels, that was a free opportunity for Fresno. You got to give it up to them. When they get a ball like that, they're not going to piss it away. They're going for the 6, and that's exactly what they did.
Now they're up by 17.
They're up by 11.
Sorry about that.
And
it's 17-6.
And right now, if you are Ole Miss, you are to be shocked by what you've just done, because you just gave Fresno a free 6, courtesy of an epic fail. Now it's 3rd and 4, and now we're seeing Fresno State's defense trying to shut them down on this drive. Here goes Trinidad, gets the ball out in time, but couldn't capitalize on it.
I'm surprised he was able to get the ball out. He almost got sacked for a huge loss, but he got the ball out in time.
Well, they didn't gain anything out of it, so it's Fresno's opportunity to shine.
That's true.
And here comes the wide receiver, was able to do something with that, as we go now into a 1st and 10 at the 35 situation for the Bulldogs.
And we're past the 2-minute warning.
Jet set back over to the halfback, number 33.
Only gets 3.
Gilliam gets it again, curls in, but got stopped by the defender, and now it's 3rd and 9.
They lost 2 yards. Let's see what they're going to do here.
Looks like Donaldson's going to be in for this package, but the quarterback is stepping back, going deep.
No, nothing.
That should have been picked. But instead, it's an incomplete pass, and the Bulldogs give the ball back to the Rebels.
Yeah, with 1-on-1 left to go, I don't know if they can do much, but they'll see if they can get some points on the board before the half.
They can try to get 3 if they can get up maybe 30 to 35 yards, and that's going to help as number 9 gets stopped right over at the 38 in their direction.
Yep, and they're already in their territory. 54 seconds left with 2 timeouts. I think they should be able to get some points
Number
out here.
6 looks up, throws it, screens it, and doesn't get a gain off of that completed pass. The clock
corner
is
was
ticking
all over him. He's lucky he got that pass off.
45 seconds to go in the first half, and Ole Miss is down by 11. Chambliss throws it up the middle, gets a complete pass. Nope, incomplete actually, and that's now 3rd and 10. And Chambliss about to get sacked, but was able to get the ball out to number 2. That's going to be for a 1st down. and they stop the clock with 29 seconds to go using their second timeout.
Already in the red zone. Can they get some points before the half?
And Chambliss scans, gets it off the corner, and number 2 is going to stop the clock with only 24 seconds to go. They're at the 7-yard line, 2nd and 3. And here goes Chambliss once again, staying in the pocket,
sacked.
but couldn't do anything, and that's a loss of 7.
They get back to the line of scrimmage, 17 seconds left.
15 seconds to go. They have a timeout remaining. They're moving quite slowly, but they got the snap out. Chambliss staying in the middle.
Oh, ball's out.
The ball is loose.
But they
that's
recover it.
another loss of 5. Asata shutting down Chambliss, and the Rebels are going to have to stop the clock with 2 seconds to go. It looks like they're going to go for 3. This can be
a ball,
but it wasn't a block. It made it up, and it makes the upright. So now, at the end of the first half, Fresno State is up by 8. And right now, it's all Donaldson for 6 attempts to 69 yards, averaging 11.5 yards, already scoring a Bulldogs touchdown. Part of the reason why the Bulldogs are this successful in this tournament.
Yes. Donaldson and Gillian, only collectively as running back, you have single-handedly turned this entire program around. And the team is on their backs. You know, we barely see anything with the quarterback, but when they need him, he's there. I'll give him that. And as we see the kickoff return, you know, this would spark the momentum.
I've seen Fresno State capitalize on kick returns, but not like this. I mean, for Ole Miss, you should be ashamed to allow this type of wide receiver that can play on special teams.
And that's what happens. You don't have
an opportunity to take advantage of a run like that. That was devastatingly bad by the Rebels.
Yeah, man, you got to have better special teams and not give that up.
You got to do much better. I mean, Fresno State all tournament long loves to capitalize on stupid mistakes, and the special teams just gave up 6 right on a platter. Right there, number 22 is going to make it for 9 yards. Number 1 on defense was able to slide down and get him out to avoid the first down. And now here goes Chambliss trying to set it up from the signal, snaps it, gets it to the halfback, number 22. He's moving to the side.
He got a block.
And right there, that block, he was able to capitalize, giving him a first down at
If
the
he was a
38.
little bit more faster, he might have been going. But tight end's not usually that quick.
And here goes Chambliss, gets the ball out in time, and number 19 is going to make it for 8 yards.
They're already pretty much knocking on the door in the red zone.
Here goes number 22. Wasn't able to make it up the gap, and that's going to be 3rd and 2. And looks like Chambliss is going to hold on to it. I told you he can be mobile when he needs to.
You were right.
And he got the 2 necessary to move the chains. And here goes number 5. Up the middle, only gains about a yard.
Let's see what they're going to do here.
Here goes Chambliss. Gets the ball out, but doesn't really gain much, only about 2.
3rd and 7.
This is their 8th first down of the game. Chambliss steps back, tries to go deep for the touchdown.
And it's picked!
And instead, it is a Bulldogs interception. And they are getting the ball back.
Wow.
Never mind the 3. They get nothing from this drive.
What a play by the corner, staying on the receiver and picking that ball off right at the nick of time.
When you have aggressive corners like that, you're not going to get a touchdown that easily. But right now, the Rebels' defense off the defensive line has responded, doesn't give them anything. They're playing at the 20-yard line. It's 2nd and 10.
Gillian's going to be out there.
Man in motion. Gillian is going to get the ball, moves to the right, curls in,
and
makes the gap, and he's going to get 9 yards. It's 3rd and 1, goes back to Donaldson.
Nothing.
Donaldson now goes backwards, loses by 2. And just like that, a very quick 3 and out.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Bulldogs did nothing with that golden opportunity, and now the Rebels are back on offense.
Look, a touchdown by the Rebels can put them right back in the game. And I don't know what was
Fresno State
froze.
They
just hesitated and let Chambliss get away with it for a first down.
Maybe they were afraid they were going to get a rough in the passer, so, I don't know. You got to make a tackle.
So you give up 10 yards? I mean, I don't know what was Fresno State thinking. But right now, Chambliss gets the ball out, and right there, that's going to be a first down. And now they're at the 27-yard line.
Let's see what they're going to do here. 43 seconds left to go in the third. They're going to hand those play action and they get swatted.
Collapses.
Pocket collapses and the ball got swatted. It's 3rd and 10.
And actually, they're at the 37, not the 27. Number 22 goes up the middle, only gains about 3.
3rd and 7.
This is a very crucial stop for Fresno State. They do not want them to try to get the 6 right here.
And it gets sacked.
Gets jammed, and Asita as a result, is injured.
Hopefully he's okay.
But it looks like for the Rebels, they're going to have to go for it for 3. And the field is going wild as he goes for
Oh, I thought it was going to be blocked.
Not a block. Instead, that's going to be for 3. And with Asita with bruised ribs, he's going to make himself available in the next defensive drive. But right now, it goes back to Fresno State, and they're going to touch it back at the 25.
15 seconds left to go in the third. Donaldson
Gets
gets
it to
the ball.
Donaldson. Goes up the middle.
And he gets
And number
about
16
20.
was able to stop him. Donaldson already for 90 yards with 8 rushes so far in the game.
Shut your stuff, young man. Shut your stuff. He's doing his thing, and the crowd loves it. And we're going to be the end of the third quarter. Ole Miss is running out of time as the Rebels look to put this game away. It is now time for the fourth quarter. Let's look at these stats.
Again, it's all rushing by Fresno State. And for Ole Miss, Chambliss is able to make some positive games in the air, but the score does tell a different story.
And the crazy thing, the time of possession is pretty close. When you look at the time of possession, it's pretty close.
It's still a question of how the defense is playing overall. And for Fresno State, they're giving up points, but they're not doing it in a way that makes them look like they don't have a way out. They're still up by 5 and could be a lot more as they move up, as they gain about 5 yards on that play. It's
Donaldson's
now 3rd
back in
and 2.
there, and he's going to get the first.
And Donaldson does what he needs to do for another first down, already at 100 yards for the game today.
Let's see, Donaldson's
Gets it back to
there.
Donaldson. Doesn't gain much, only a gain of 2. It's now 2nd and 8.
Let's see what they're going to do here. Donaldson's back in
to
there.
Donaldson. And again, only a gain of 5 going up the middle.
Donaldson's back in there one more time. Let's see if he can punch it in and keep the drive going.
For a 3rd time.
And he does.
Time, it's going to be for a first down. Moving the chains, taking the clock as low as it can go at the 3 minutes. They're playing off the 33, back to Donaldson.
And he's going to get close.
And gets about 8 yards.
Ole Miss calls a timeout as they're running out of time.
It's their first of 3 timeouts used. Gets it back to
Donaldson gets another first.
Off the spin. And now again, the Rebels have to use their 2nd timeout. 1 more left with 2:53 remaining in the 4th quarter. They're down by 5. And here goes Fresno State giving it to Donaldson, but couldn't gain much. And now we see an injury by Ole Miss. This time is Zacavian Harris that's feeling the pain right there.
Gillian gets the handoff.
Number 33
Gillian
stiffs
bulldozes
arms and gets a first down, forcing the Rebels to use their final timeout.
As we're getting close to the 2-minute warning.
Back to Donaldson. Goes up the
fights in.
middle, finds some space for a Bulldogs touchdown, and I think that is going to wrap it up. We may see something that Fresno State never thought would be coming their way, and that's an appearance in the National Semifinals. The Rebels can try to do something, but they got to do something quick, because if they get the ball back and if the Bulldogs defense just shuts them down for one more drive, one more series, I don't think they're going to have enough time to make it up. So it's now or never for the Rebels, as the Bulldogs are now up by 12 off of their 12-play drive.
It's not looking good for Ole Miss. Ole Miss time is of the essence. They got to score, and they got to score quickly if they want to remain in the game.
And they're going to hold number 7 down to
all that, you should
15.
just took a touchback.
They're going to have to play pretty deep as they're at the 15. And with the fake,
and he's gonna
staying in the pocket, gets the screen out to number 19, and that's going to be a gain of 9.
But the clock keeps moving because he did not get out of bounds.
They're going to try to go on the hurry up. It's 2nd and 1.
Clock is moving. They get the ball.
Chambliss steps back, scans the field, throws deep, and will not get that pass. And it's going to be 3rd and 1.
2:17. At least that stops the clock. 2:17.
Quite manageable. They can go for it on 4th if they have to. Chambliss is holding on to the ball once again. And that's going to be another first down.
Now, if he did this early in the game, maybe he might have a different outcome. But
right now, Chambliss is trying to keep hope alive as they're about to creep into the 2-minute warning. Got the snap out before the 2-minute.
And he gets
Chambliss
sacked.
Holds on to it, but gains nothing as we're now crossing into the last 2 minutes of this game.
A loss of 1, 2nd and 11.
Fresno State still up by 12. Chambliss throws deep. Gets it.
And number
1 gets the ball. and that's for a big first down. They're now going to be at the 20 in the red zone.
The corner lost track of the ball, and it cost them. Dilly gave up a huge play.
Can they capitalize with 6 with less than 2 minutes to go in the game? Here goes Chambliss.
And he's going to get sacked.
To it, but he should have just thrown it out, and that's going to be the 5th sack by Fresno State.
And a loss of 8. It is now 2nd and 18.
90 seconds to go in the game. Chambliss steps back, scans right, pulls off,
and they dropped it.
Get a connection there, and that's going to be 3rd and 18.
They're running out of time, 3rd and 18.
Here goes Chambliss, still scanning, in the pocket, gets it out, off the screen.
Nothing.
But nothing was gained.
Oh, he gained a few.
2 yards.
This is
so
it.
They're going to have to go for it. 4th and 16.
Game on the line.
With a national semifinals appearance on the line, Chambliss throws it up.
It's going to be short.
But it's not going to be enough. Turnover on downs. And if you are Fresno State, you can say confidently you're going to the national semifinals.
They take a knee, and that's going to do it. I can't believe I just said this, and I'm going to say this. The Fresno State Bulldogs had defeated the Ole Miss Rebels and are headed for a first time ever national semifinals berth.
Player of the game goes to Bryson Donaldson, the sophomore, for 132 yards with 18 attempts, scoring 2 touchdowns for the Bulldogs. He is the man now because he is moving into a national semifinals appearance.
Well, folks, before we get out of here, we're going to give you one quick extra time. We're not going to take too much.
Look, it's worthy of a conversation, I suppose.
Yes, so... BVG, I want you to get any thoughts out first before I begin.
Well, look, I think for Ole Miss, I think that you got exposed pretty poorly.
Damn.
I think
that's a word that's been going around lately.
If you're able to really show how dominant you were throughout this tournament, it kind of shows why you as the 6th seed was just a waste of space. I mean, look, Fresno State, yeah, they're a good team. They're not the best team of the tournament, but they're certainly not a team to scoff at. And Ole Miss, you did not do anything on defense to hold a hot Fresno team over like this. I mean, Fresno State illustrates how you guys can't move up the field without a good, Trinidad Chambliss working down the field. If Trinidad Chambliss is contained, your running game is abysmal. There's no way you can get any points. Defensively, I've seen sloppy, and then I see Ole Miss. You guys give Fresno State way too many gimmies for an opportunity for them to get 6. How many picks did we see in this game?
I think we
saw what? Just one forced fumble.
Forced fumble and a pick.
And we saw a pick that led to a pick 6. That is not how you win games at this level of the tournament. When you give up that many opportunities.
And don't forget the kickoff return.
I mean, the defense dominated. Fresno State's defense dominated the first quarter. It wasn't even the offense that mattered. The running back university didn't exist until the second quarter. Really, if you wanted to put into, the semantics of the game. So if the defense is forcing Ole Miss to be that contained, I can't see how they can beat Fresno State. Ole Miss, you claim to be one of the best teams in the SEC. A Mountain West team just busts your ass. How can you say that now? You should be disappointed, Ole Miss. You should be disappointed. You make me look bad because I picked you. You make me look like a fool because I picked you. Thanks, Ole Miss. Same old Ole Miss from last year, just with a playoff appearance. Thanks, Ole Miss.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I waited for this moment for a while since the selection show. Now, before I go on my rant, I will give BVG a hell of a lot of credit. The way he analyzed this game, the way he broke down Ole Miss, and mind you, this is coming from an Ole Miss who did not win not a single game in the tournament last year. They were where Fresno State was in the inaugural tournament, a doormat. Yeah. They were a free win. Any team that scratched Ole Miss on the schedule, that's a free win for us. Because that was Fresno State in the inaugural. Yeah. But my times has changed. BVG went on a legendary rant back in the inaugural tournament when Fresno State faced Notre Dame. And when Fresno State threw their 4th pick of the game, BVG went on one of the most legendary rants that's still considered one of the best to this day. And he was absolutely right in everything he said. And that was their last game of the tournament.
Very much so.
And then they came back this year. They obliterated, they destroyed, they burnt down the city and women and children in Oregon State. On the road.
Oregon, you mean?
Oregon State, sorry.
Oh,
Of
yes.
course, yeah. On the road, mind you. On the road, they did this. Mind you, Fresno State only played outside of this home game. They only had 2 other home games. Most of their time, they're on the road. On the road. I can't speak enough praise on Gillian and Donaldson because anything more is just straight glazing. But I mean, come on, man. I call them running back you for a reason. BVG, I was upset at him because the last couple of weeks, the Bulldogs ran into a roadblock. Now, I wouldn't say roadblock, a little setback. You know, they struggled against SMU. They shouldn't, honestly, I will stay on record. They should never won that game. They should never won that game. They escaped SMU. And BVG called me out on that, and he was rightfully so. And then we came back, we beat Clemson on the road.
It's Clemson.
Anyway, you might be right, but we still beat them on the road. And then we ran into BYU. BYU played a great game. Even though they had nothing to play for, they played spoiler. But it didn't really hurt Fresno State because at that point, Fresno State had the 3rd seed locked up, so they really had nothing to play for. You know, there was a little scare because Gillian got hurt, and he was really a non-factor throughout that game, and that's probably one of the reasons why they lost that game by possession. But I told BVG since the selection show that you shouldn't use that as a way to write Fresno State off because he didn't have Fresno State winning this game.
No, I didn't.
He literally had Fresno State saying, "Oh, they had fun, but now it's time to, as they say, stomp with the big dogs."
I thought the Rebels were a team that was competent to stop a team like Fresno State. I thought so. I was wrong.
And he said it was time for them to stomp with the big dogs.
Yeah.
And they stomped all right. They stomped all right. And I'm going to continue to say this. I am proud of this team. I'm proud of the transformation that they have, presented us. They have done what most teams can dream of. You go from undesirable to undeniable now. And this is only a second appearance. Because everybody was expecting Fresno State. Oh, it's Fresno State. They're going to be a doormat again. I told you since the first game. I was even shocked. But I knew Fresno State had something special. And now look at them now. They are 1 game away. Can you believe we're saying
Yeah,
this?
they're a game away from a national appearance, national championship appearance.
I'm going to have just a tiny bit of resistance because their next opponent is the one and only
the Ohio State Buckeyes.
But I still have faith in this team. If they can take care of business like they did here, I'm going on and saying it. I think they can beat Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State is invincible. I think they're mortal. I honestly think the Ohio State is looking past them. I think they're looking towards Indiana. I think they're looking towards Texas. I don't think they take Fresno State seriously. And I think Fresno State is going to use that as motivation to not only win, but win big. Because mind you, we're all neutral going forward, folks. This is the last home game.
Yeah.
We're all neutral going forward. It's all neutral sites going
They're
forward.
going to be playing in the Cotton Bowl, Fresno State.
And this is their first ever appearance. Like I said, this is big. This is big for the program. Can you sit here with a realistic answer and tell me?
I would never have thought Fresno State will be playing in the Rose Bowl.
You honestly
National
didn't.
Semifinals.
You didn't even think that Fresno State would even win enough games to even qualify for the playoff.
I thought they were
You
at
was
best.
shocked.
I thought that at best they would be a 3-3-4-2 team.
He didn't even when they were chalking up wins, he still didn't believe them, and that was getting me. I'm like, what
When
more
your
than
most
Fresno State?
impressive win is basically UConn and Clemson. I mean, yeah, you're gonna.
You can say the same for Indiana. Indiana didn't play anybody.
Yeah, and one team was undefeated and the other wasn't. So the reality is that if both teams had so-called cupcake records or are coming from cupcake conferences, then you're supposed to win every game you're supposed to win. I think Fresno State gave a very impressive performance against Ole Miss. I think that they've demonstrated not only that they belong here, that they did deserve to be in the Elite Eight and play in a national quarterfinal. But we're talking about Ohio State here.
Here we go again.
And I think that with Ohio
Here we go
State-
again. So you're saying that you're saying the ride in.
Hold on, let me finish my sentence before
Okay.
you start asking obvious questions. I'm not suggesting that Ohio State is just gonna just steamroll Fresno State. What I am gonna say though is that if Fresno State wants to make it to a national championship, the same way they can contain a Rebels team and have their defense force turnovers and expose the quarterback like a Trinidad Chambliss, who was way too comfortable in the pocket for him to be making mistakes like this. But if you want that type of Fresno State to upset a Ohio State, yes, it's the step in the right direction. Do I think that it's going to be a blowout? Absolutely not. Do I think that Fresno can possibly upset Ohio State? Maybe. I mean, this will be the toughest opponent that they will ever face.
So are you saying that you got? Are you telling me without telling me that you have Ohio State winning?
I think that Ohio State has a chance to win this game. I think Ohio State could win it by as much as 7. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think that it's going to be a very convincing win against Fresno State. However, I wouldn't hold past Fresno State if they continue to pose upsets, because if they can beat a Rebels, expose a team like the Ole Miss Rebels, then every other team take notice. That also includes Indiana, right? That also includes Texas. But definitely for Ohio State, they should not assume that this is going to be a walk in the park.
Let me ask you this question before we get out of here.
Yeah.
And I know maybe I'm looking too far into the future, but I want to get a gauge on how you feel about this. Let's just say Fresno State advances and they make it to the championship. Who do you think they better match up better with? Do you think Texas or Indiana? Depending on who gets
I think
that.
the better matchup, if you face Texas, that's a national championship win for Fresno State.
Whoa. Time out.
Let me finish what I'm saying before you get into this question. If they face Texas, I think Fresno State will win their first national championship. If they face Indiana, I don't think Indiana is going to let that happen. I think Indiana is going to defeat Fresno State because I think that Fresno State's defense is not as good as Indiana's. I mean, they have been holding teams down to as much as a possession. I mean, seriously, as much as a possession. I have never seen a team like Indiana give up more than 14 points ever throughout this entire tournament. And I don't think Fresno State is going to be that type of team that's going to allow Indiana to, really give it up like that. Mm-hmm. But if you're facing Arch Manning and the Longhorns, yeah, I think Archie is the type of guy that if he's having a great night, he's going to put some points on the board. But I don't think that the Texas defense can hold a red-hot running back, or set of running backs like Donaldson or Gilliam. I think that is, if you're telling me based off of those two potential teams who got it easy, it's going to be Texas. I think Texas is going to be the easy mark for Fresno State to become a national champion.
You're sitting here.
That's if Indiana doesn't get it done against them.
But you're sitting here. I feel like you're doing this again. You're sitting here discrediting.
Well, come on. I'm looking at it from what the records tell me.
Okay,
you
but
can play the
Texas
eye test all you want. Texas is not as good as you think. I think Texas.
Well, if they wasn't so good, they wouldn't be in the semifinals.
Who cares? That doesn't mean they're going to win it.
I didn't say they were going to win, but I think they're good enough to be in the position that they're in.
Fair enough. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm just saying I'm not putting all my stock against a Texas team that can't really hold a Fresno State team down, which is why I'm giving Fresno State the easy W against Texas if that's who they face. I cannot say the same about Indiana because Indiana is not the same as Texas.
So you going on record saying that Indiana's going to the national championship?
Yes. Are you deaf?
I can't believe this.
Are you deaf? Have you not been watching any of these games?
I have.
No, you haven't. Because if you have, how the hell can you not think that an Indiana is not going to make it into a national championship when you've held every single team down to one possession? Like, come on. They're going to the national championship. It's not a question as to whether Indiana is going to a national championship. They are. It's obvious. It's a question. And let us not forget, You questioned me against me with Oregon, right? All I'm saying is we've seen the evidence.
Yes,
it's
you're right.
irrefutable. Indiana is the best team in the tournament. Fresno State, if they face Indiana, they may have a chance to pull an upset. But do I think it's going to be a blowout? You think Fresno State's going to blow out Indiana?
I never said that.
I'm saying they're not. I know you didn't say it. I'm saying it. They're not. They're not. They're not going to blow out Indiana. Do I think it's going to be a highly competitive game if they face Indiana? Yes. Do I think it's going to be a highly competitive game against Texas? No. I think Texas is not going to be able to handle a red-hot Fresno State team. I think Texas is an amazing program, but they're going to get trampled once again because they are not a championship-winning team.
Well, first of all, they didn't get trampled. They only lost by, 2-3 points last year?
Texas is not a championship-built team this year. They're not. They're not a well-built. Fresno State is a much more well-built championship-level team than Texas.
But some could say that Fresno State is one-dimensional.
Sure, but no one has able to stop the running game. So until that happens, you can call them whatever you want. You are what your record says you are. The running backs of Fresno State is the reason why Fresno State is even in a quarterfinal. So you can use the cliches all you want. Look at the evidence on the field. Fresno State has arguably the best running game in America. But Texas has not proven so far that they can dominate enough in the air to make it tough for the secondaries of Fresno State to hold them down and contain them. We don't know that. We also don't know how Texas can respond to an offense that is just able to figure out ways to keep it on the ground. I don't know how confident I can be about Texas, but I also don't think that Fresno State is that one team that's just going to beat every single team. Look, maybe my opinion might change when I see them go up against Ohio State. Maybe. Maybe my opinion might change because that's going to be the hardest test for Fresno State.
I said this was their hardest test.
Yes, and they passed. Congratulations. But you know what's different? An undefeated team that has defeated every single team this entire tournament named Ohio State. If they can beat Ohio State, if they beat Ohio State and Indiana does their job against Texas, it's going to be a damn good game. I'm talking about a damn good national championship game.
And again, this is.
But I don't think Texas is going to beat Indiana. So who cares? It's going to be Indiana-Fresno State final.
Well, I guess we got our picks now.
I'm calling it. We'll talk more about it once we get into.
But he's already claimed that Indiana's
the best team. They're the best team in the country. I think Fresno State is so hot that when a tournament like this is being played, whoever's the hottest team, they're usually going to end up on top. So we're looking at two amazing programs. I'm calling it early. It's going to be a Fresno State-Indiana final.
So you're going on record right now.
Because you know why I'm going to say this? Because if Ohio State has any chance of beating Fresno State, you got to figure out a way to shut down Donaldson and Gilliam. And I don't know if they can. I don't think any team has really given an answer. But I'll tell you this, if Ohio State does figure it out, Fresno State is fucked. Fresno State is fucked because Sayin will get some points on the board. He's going to work his offensive personnel to put points on the board. It's really Ohio State's defense.
So are you saying
we haven't heard or seen much about the defense throughout this entire tournament? So that's going to be a testament.
So are you saying this is Ohio State's game to lose?
Yes.
If Ohio State
can demonstrate why they're so damn dominant and winning all these games with their defense, then yeah, it's chalk. So, but I don't know anything about that yet.
So if Fresno State beats them, are you going to give them the same words you've been giving Ole Miss and
I'm not going to call them frauds, but what I will say is
I would call them a fraud.
I mean, you can't just throw fraud whenever it is. A fraud is the assumption that they had no business. First of all, you definitely can't call Ohio State a fraud when they've won every other game in the tournament. That's not what a fraud means.
But I told you
that's not the definition of a fraud.
Called pretenders.
That's not a fraud.
No, I'm saying there's something called pretenders.
Pretender and fraud is a synonym. The reality is You are a fraud when every single hype that you've done was actually a flop all along. Those teams, unless you want to go down the record of Ohio State, the majority of the games they played was not cupcake teams.
I never said they was.
So how are they frauds? Just because they lost one game in the semifinal?
Because you're one and done.
That's how
you're the overall favorite.
That other guy, welcome to the playoffs of the CFT. That's how it works. There's always going to be 4 teams or 2 teams that are going to be eliminated. That doesn't mean you get to stamp them as a fraud. That's not how the word works.
I feel like if you're a powerhouse like Ohio State and you're supposed to be the best team in the country,
that doesn't make them a fraud. That just makes them a weaker team. That makes them a weaker team. That's not what a fraud means. Look up in the dictionary. A fraud is a overrated team. This is what it means to be overrated.
I think Ohio State's
a second seed team is not overrated. That other guy, it's not.
I feel like they are.
You're not giving arguments. You're just making assumptions. What is the argument? What's your argument? Oh, the eye test? That's not evidence.
But you take the eye test for Ole Miss. You did the eye test for Oregon.
I already told you why Ole Miss is vulnerable. They lost to Texas and Indiana, which means they are vulnerable against a team like Fresno State. That's evidence. That's evidence. That other guy, I'm teaching you what evidence looks like. They have 2 teams that they had issues with that is not even on the level of a Fresno State, since you're making them so much of a hot talent. If they're in the same category as Texas and Indiana, then yes, Ole Miss, that should be expected for them to lose. But with Ohio State, first of all, we don't even know much about Ohio State in this tournament. How much footage have you even seen of Ohio State? 0. So you don't know shit about what Ohio State can potentially do.
I know they're undefeated.
That's all we can say. So I can't call them frauds. That's the point. You can't call a fraud when you don't even have enough evidence to say saying is overrated because, or the defensive line is trash because, or the offensive personnel doesn't do much because. You have no argument to call them a fraud when you haven't even seen them play. Watch the game first.
Okay, well, we're going to see, because if they lose and lose bad, I'm going to call them
If they lose poorly, then you know what? You can say everything in the dictionary. You can say every word in the dictionary, but the one word I would steer far away from, even if they lose miserably against Fresno State, is fraud. I would rather use the E word, exposed, more than they are frauds. A fraud is a byproduct of them being overrated. You can't be overrated when you've demolished every single team on your schedule. That's not what a fraud means.
Well, we will see. Folks, we get passionate when it gets this time of the year because it's...
this is great talent, though.
Yeah. But
so I want to give them respect when the respect is due.
Well, folks, we got some exciting semifinals coming up soon, and we hope that you join us for that. Thank you for another edition of the CFT for College Football 26, live here at BVG Studios.
And remember that it's your obligation to like this if you really do enjoy it. And if you really want to watch more of our footage, why don't you subscribe so you can see all of our amazing content from the beginning of the tournament up to this point. And if you think I'm full of shit, or if you think that other guy doesn't have a grip, you have the opportunity to send a comment and let us know. We would love to hear your thoughts as well. But for all of us here from BVG, again, this is the BVG.
I am that other guy.
Saying so long again as Fresno State is moving to a national semifinals, defeating Ole Miss.
See ya.